Sometimes you have fond regard for a student. You think fondly of her when you see her name, but you can't place exactly why that is. Such was the case with my student Amber. She was in my introduction to poetry class that I taught in the fall of 2005. And I remember that class well, not only because it's one of the largest classes that I've ever taught at UC Davis, but because my youngest son Truman was born a week or so before class started. Now that I think of it, just a few days before the first day of class. And so when something momentous like that is happening in your life, time slows down. You pay closer attention. In fact, one of my goals for this whole series is for me to reflect on who is it that I remember, what is it that I remember, and why, and what do I wish to remember? What memories can we keep with us like fond friends? Well, I was fond of my student Amber. I'm sure she did well in that English 45 class that I taught to like 100 students in the fall of 2005. And I remember that she lived in our neighborhood. Maybe her boyfriend lived in my neighborhood, but she would often drive past when I was walking with Juki, or maybe walking with my new baby Truman in the stroller, and she would slow down. And she wouldn't honk by like slamming the horn, but she'd just give a little beep beep so that she could let us know that she was there. And then she waved her greetings frantically, hi, and with a big smile. So I appreciated that, but I wondered what's going on with Dr. Andy's amnesia and his student Amber. Well, I don't have my emails from that era. Perhaps I could open up an old computer after powering it up, if I could find the right sort of AC cord from the aughts, the 2000 aughts, and crack open Eudora and look through my emails. Maybe I should figure out how to do that to be a more responsible and data-driven chronicler of all of these students. But there's always Facebook. So I jumped on Facebook. Amber and I are still friends. And I just went to the messages to see if there were any messages between us. Well, I had written her on November 30th, 2007, and I said, "Hi Amber, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, Andy." Clearly there's a subtext there, and that is, "Amber, I'm waiting to hear from you." Something to that effect. That's my guess. She sent me back such a nice message. "Hi Andy, thanks. I had a terrific Thanksgiving, 2 to be exact. How about you?" New paragraph. "I should let you know that I've decided to take a year off before going on to graduate school. After talking with other professors, including Catherine Robeson, and oh, how I missed having Catherine Robeson as one of my colleagues for these last 20 years. I think soon after that, she took a job someplace else. Was it an Ivy League school? I should actually know that. After talking with other professors, they thought that it would be a smart decision. So we'll be working and aiming to publish in that year. I really want to make it to another poetry reading soon, but lately there's been just too much work to do. Hope all is well. Best, Amber." That was our last communication, December of 2007, 19 years ago. Clearly, I haven't been a very good correspondent with Amber. But now I realize I helped Amber with a letter of recommendation. I probably gave her advice on a publishing project. I was helping her think about how is she going to get into graduate school. And she wanted to let me know that she hadn't given up on those dreams, but she was putting those dreams on a 1-year hiatus. Amber, I appreciate your note. I hope you got into graduate school or whatever sort of goals that you were trying to accomplish. I hope that they're in the rearview mirror for you. And I thank you for greeting us with such enthusiasm when you lightly honked while driving past Dr. Andy and at least one of his children back in the middle of the first decade of the 21st century. This has been a lighter video than most, but they're all not going to be 10-minute affairs with fascinating narratives. I've got 365 of these to do. This is Dr. Andy with another remembrance of one of his students leading up to his retirement. We keep talking about him in the third person in July of 2027. I hope you'll join me on this adventure for these little narratives. And if you made it this deep into the video, give it a like, won't you? Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.